are with City Councilwoman, United Way, what's United Way?
CEO.
United Way CEO, Valerie Guzman. And that's just like top of the iceberg of the awesomeness that this woman does. There's so much more, and we're going to unpack that here today on the Black Women Burrito.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. The awesomeness? That's a lot.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming. We're glad that you're here today so that we can inspire other young Black women that may want to follow in your footsteps. So with that, can you kind of talk to us about your journey to becoming the person that you are today?
Before I get started, awesomeness starts out by showing up and being courageous. And this moment that you guys are doing makes you also awesome and encouraging. So don't negate who you are while you're out there interviewing others, because you recognize awesome because you are. Both of you are.
Thank you.
So, how did I start being Valerie Guzman? I started out as Valerie McCrae, and I moved to Tennessee to be closer to my family and kept inspiring to move. Right.
Now, where did you move from? Where were you?
I was in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And I graduated from Hawaii, from high school in Hawaii. So I moved to Georgia to Hawaii, and then I moved here because my parents were here.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's all the way back.
Right.
Right? But that's all the way back when I wasn't sure how to make those steps. And so what I did was just one at a time. Every day just doing one at a time. And what I didn't know, I researched, and I was okay with asking the question.
Yes.
And it's the asking the question is how you move forward. And then spending that time with God and spending that time with other people that I inspired to emulate parts of their lives. Not all of it, because God made me uniquely Valerie, right? Which is all the way different.
Yes.
But there's parts of everyone that you want to take and you glean from.
Good.
So in my moment of being Ruth, right? Inspiring to be Esther,
Good.
because that's who I inspire to be.
Okay.
I'm the voice of my people in my neck of the woods,
Good.
right? And whoever can hear my voice and it changes them, I did an amazing work, right? So when I was being Ruth,
Yes.
right? I went to school, I got married, I had children, I have grandchildren, and then I just kept doing the thing. My whys were bigger than what everybody else was seeing. What were my whys of why I decided to run for city council?
Yes.
What were my whys to go into business for myself? Was for my family circle. When you're inspired to make your inner circle well,
That's good.
Yes.
everything will be well outside the world, especially if it has good purpose.
Yes.
So I inspired to make my inner circle well.
Good.
And then when I did that, and mind you, it wasn't a thought process. It was just you make your people well, right?
Yes.
Right.
And then it absolutely just resonates outside of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that was my why. And so then when I ran for office, which then shows my craziness, because I was in school full time. We had just sold our business. I made my family crazy for 1 year. And my husband, I said, I think I'm going to go to school. I was
Okay.
afraid because I hate to write. Right? So God said, well, that's not true. We're going to pick a school where writing is all you have to do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're going to have that talk when I get to heaven on why. But it was perfect school to allow me to work and study.
Now,
And,
what were you studying? What did you go in?
I went in for management, organization, and development.
Okay.
Because I know that we have some systems that are in place that are just not okay. They don't actually work for those who are doing. Not everyone has to be a manager. There are some people that are just going to be great in their position, and then we make them because they either been there longer, they do a really good job, and we tell them your next step is management. And there's got to be a way to reward them in their space without forcing them to be managers, because what if they're not a good manager and we make them manager? We just broke them. And it's hard to take them from that and bring them back.
Okay.
So for me, it was like showing people, well, how can we give them a lift up, because we want to reward them but not pull it all the way back. And so one of the things we did was like show them how they could be great trainers or
Right.
just be good mentors in a workplace. So that's really,
So where did you go to school?
I went to Austin P.
Okay.
And then when life got in the way, right? Because life
Yeah,
does.
it
It's so rude and so disrespectful sometimes.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
I went to Bethel.
Okay.
And
Online?
No, I went actually in campus. I
Oh.
would leave work and I would go and I would sit for the 3 hours or.
How old were you when you decided to go back and make that decision? Or
I might have been 30.
so with kids already and
No, not even kids yet.
oh, no kids. Okay,
No,
that's good.
So I was 30. I just bought my first home.
Okay.
I was like, I think I bought my first home when I was 27, 30,
Okay.
between 27 and 30.
Nice.
I'm 52
Yes.
now, so that was like, it starts to morph.
Okay.
It starts to squish on
Yes.
you. But anyway, it was in that time.
Yes.
Yeah, I went through it and then I got a tattoo. Yeah, so it was right in there.
So
It
right.
all happened at
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, because I was like life-changing moment. I'm buying a house and I'm getting a tattoo. It was like,
I love it. I love
it's
it.
gonna be all the
Yes.
things. Yeah.
So, what was the biggest push for you that said, okay, I have to go back and get my education now? What made you do that and make that decision at that time?
This is gonna sound so crazy. So I was in church one day, and I was sitting there, and I knew that I needed the education to be the voice of the change that was going to be for our community, and not just Black community, but our Christian community, because we don't have sometimes as Christians the right perspective of the world outside of us.
Right.
And so I wanted to be that right voice, that right educated voice for that moment, so that I can change the narrative that we've been walking in this long period of time, and it's not been okay.
Right. So again, that goes back into kind of improving your inner circle to be able to affect that change overall. I like that. That's
It just
What-
keeps happening.
What advice do you have for someone who may want to go to school later, or thinking about it, they're contemplating it at this point, and in their 30s and going to school? What advice?
Oh my
would you
gosh.
give them?
So now you have internet. You can look at all the possibilities versus when I went, right? I had to go into the school physically, look through the catalogs, right? Now you guys can just go through it and you type in what you're interested in and then put in school, and you can get that whole thing and that whole gambit. The starting is to start.
Yes.
You ain't got to finish today. People always think you got to get up and finish it right now. You ain't got to start.
It's a process.
It is a process.
Yes.
All of it's a process.
between 27 and 30. Obviously, you finished high school like when you're 18. So that interim, when I think so many are now, like they opted not to go to college immediately. What did you do in that in between time? Like, or what would be your advice to other people that are in that span trying to figure out, what do I do with my life right now? I'm not in college. I don't. What do I do? What's your thoughts there?
So the first part I did, I walked around the mountain. I just didn't do it for 40 years, but I did. I walked around the mountain. So people like that mountain, they were so dumb. It was,
Yes.
using biblical terms.
Yes.
But I walked around it because I needed time.
Okay.
I needed to figure me out.
Yes.
I needed to know me, right? Because when you graduate, sometimes you're just what your parents told you were going to be,
That's
right?
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I got married young, and so then I was who my ex-husband told me I was going to be. And then when I decided at the age of 21 I was going to be me, and I walked away in spite of fear. With fear, I still stepped out.
One thing that you just said that I absolutely love is that a lot of times when we graduate at 18, we don't really know who we are. We know who our parents have told us that we are, who we are. That was really good. And so yes, you just left your ex-husband, walked in this mountain.
I moved here. I moved to Tennessee, and I just started working. I think I've always just worked because I like to live inside. And I like to
Yes.
eat the food I choose to eat.
Yes.
So I worked 2 jobs because there wasn't enough. And then we had the war break out, and I had to work even harder because there were not a lot of jobs here in '91.
Oh wow. Now which war was
Yes.
that? 'Cause-
That I think was the Gulf.
The Gulf.
Okay.
But all I know is the world got empty, and it was really hard here. And so I did that. And then I found out I have this small gift. Now, y'all are gonna be surprised when I tell you that. I'm an introvert.
Okay. All right. We'll let you finish that statement.
So, one-on-one, I'm so. This is easy for me.
Okay.
this is easy because it's intimate and it's an on-purpose conversation. I'm not really good at chit-chat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And
I can understand that.
I'm not good with large crowds. It overwhelms me. People sometimes are exhausting, not because they're meaning to be, because they need so much.
Yes.
And I have to prepare myself because I want to be what they need
Yeah.
at that moment. But when you're an introvert, you really have to prepare to be that thing when you step out.
So what are some ways that you prepare, especially as a councilwoman, you're working with large groups regularly?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the ways that you prepare yourself to deal with large crowds?
I rest well the night before, not even kidding.
Okay.
I make sure that I rest well. I spend some quiet time before that moment, just a little bit, and knowing that it's not about me.
That's good.
So I get outside of me.
Yes.
My discomfort, the world's betterment. It gets
good.
to be bigger than me.
That
It
makes
always
sense.
has to be bigger than me.
I like that. I think a lot of times people have this preconceived notions that introverts don't care about people, and that's just not true.
It's
And so
not.
I love the way you just explained that. Hey, you've got to be energized. You've got to be in that mental space. Be prepared to deal with it. You want better for people. You just
Yes,
can't
absolutely.
always have them on you at all times. That's good.
Yeah, and I do, and I mean, because it is just the growing in it, the walking in it, and so yeah,
Awesome.
that's something.
So when you were younger, what was your ideal dream job?
I first wanted to be a teacher.
Interesting.
Okay.
And that's something I did.
You're still a teacher. You're just
You
teaching
are.
adults.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but a teacher.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a librarian, because all of those fit that part of me that just wants to do a thing,
Yes.
but quiet in a
Yes.
thing. Right. It's not what God had for me.
No, just clear it up. He had other plans.
Had other plans.
Thank you for your obedience to those
Yes,
plans.
absolutely.
I didn't know there was an option. I wasn't churched enough
Yes.
to know that was an option.
Okay.
So when I came to Christ, I didn't have a background of church.
Okay. So, who are some of your people that inspired you?
Anyone who's I'm the first of, no matter what, has moved me. I don't have to be the first, but I sure can be the second.
Yes.
All right.
Anyone who's
Yes.
broke the mold, and I'd like to give them all names, but it doesn't matter because it's literally every woman who did it first
Good.
that moves me.
Yes.
My grandmother, Roberta McCrae,
Yes.
phenomenal woman. Phenomenal woman. She died of 95. She had Alzheimer's for 20 years. You know how rare that is. Less than 1% of patients will have it for that long. It's
Yes.
usually not that long. And whenever I would walk into the space, she was in Philadelphia. I lived here. If I flew to Philadelphia, she would remember me.
That's good.
That's rare. Her last moments, she remembered all of her children and all of us.
That's
For a
amazing.
full day, my grandma came back. And she said, "You said you'd come back." I said, "Yes, Grams, I told you I'd come back." And in her time, she fought the railroad system in Pennsylvania when my grandfather was killed when my father was 12 years old. And they told her that it was an accident. She goes, "I don't think so, sir, because you said my husband had this horrific hit by a car. There's no blood on his clothes." Explain to me that. She didn't just take that. She sued them. And not only did she sue them, but then she sent all of her children had the opportunity to go to college.
Oh, goodness.
That happened in the mid-50s. That doesn't happen in life in that time.
No.
She fought, and they're like, "You're gonna fight?" Absolutely. She bought a house, and she raised 7 kids with no husband, and she was amazing.
Yes, that is amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
What a legacy.
I know. She and last Saturday was the time of her passing, and so much was going on. I stopped and I paid homage. I didn't have sweet, loving words, but I'm like, I'm her legacy.
Yes.
That's my Grams.
Yes.
And she fought for her circle, which then made the circles outside of us, her family better.
That is amazing. Just to see that someone can change their generations
Yes.
and their
And then how you honor her by continuing in that
Yeah.
same, just fight for your
Exactly.
circle, and it changes everything around. I love that. I just want to get your thoughts here. I know we got to see you. Well, I got to see you via some Facebook Lives down on Wilma Rudolph last weekend, and that was powerful. Just seeing that in my city, like 2 miles from my apartment, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then of course the prayers that we've had going on at the courthouse. One question I do want to ask before you go into it: why do you think Clarksville has been able to be as expressive as they have been? Because people were out there just bleeding their hearts out, and still maintain so much peace here in our city.
There is 2 reasons. We have leadership that cares.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
2, we also have a police force that cares.
Good.
Yes.
Even though they were out there, like one of the guys was like, "But they blocked off the street." It was 10 o'clock at night. I
Yes.
said, "Baby, because he didn't want you to get hit by a car."
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh." He stopped instantly being mad because he understood the why.
Yes.
So what was the part of it that we missed? We probably should have said it, right? Even though the crowd was worked up and they were just thinking, because Wilma Rudolph, if you haven't been on Wilma Rudolph lately, there's not as much lighting as there usually is,
No,
because they're building the sidewalks. So all of those light posts had to get removed to put the sidewalks in.
Got it.
So it's not as lit up, and the darker it got, the more businesses closed,
Yes.
the less you could see them. You almost couldn't see them because they were Black Lives Matter. They were all wearing their black with their camouflage pants, and you couldn't see them unless you were on them. So, there you go. So, but that's 2 of the reasons why. Has our police department always got it right? No. But do I know that they work on it on a regular basis?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And they're
Absolutely.
doing their job protecting.
Yes.
Serving, so it's
Yeah.
really good.
So what is your what are your feelings, if I might ask, about what's going on in our climate right now and why things are the way they are on George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery,
I'm in a tornado of emotions. And when I say that, what I'm saying is that I'm angry and I'm proud and I'm sad and I'm glad and I'm frustrated and I'm planning and I'm all of those things at the same exact time.
Yes.
But if we don't put the right combination, it could be toxic or it could be wonderful. And so I'm in that place, and I'm also a Black woman who's a professional,
Yes.
right? What does that look like for me? Every time that I know that I say something, someone else could see that as a rejection.
yes.
And I'm not rejecting you. I'm just trying to save mine.
Yes.
And so when people say they are making George Floyd a hero, no, I don't think that's what anybody's saying. What we are saying is George Floyd was a man who didn't deserve to die, because we know that in our time there have been white collared crimes that stole millions people's lives, right, and got 7 to 14 years.
Yes.
George Floyd, without even a court, without even a trial, got the death penalty for $20.
Yes.
That's why we're angry.
Yes.
That's why we're angry.
Yes.
That's why we keep being angry. I've been doing, and not on a political side and not where people see it, I've been making brother checks and sister checks. I've been just checking in if people just need it. I may have never talked to you on the phone, but I'm checking on you
Yes.
because that's my job. I'm a mama. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to check on people.
Yes.
So I had a brother get on, and he's in New Jersey. He used to be a truck driver. He used to live here. And I was checking him. He goes, if y'all are mad, and it was something in the way it was connected on his Facebook post, and I reached out and I called him and said, brother, you okay? He said, man, he's from Brooklyn. He said, man, I watched that video a couple of times to the end because I kept thinking he's going to lift his knee up. He's going to lift his knee up. And he didn't. And he wept. That is the state of our country. He said, I fought for this country. Really? 1947, black people fought for this country, went to war, ended Hitler, and came back to this country and could not go to high school. Their children could not go to high school in some places.
Yes.
That's what we're fighting for. You don't get to be more American than us, because we fought for this country and believed in the purpose
Right.
before the purpose believed in us.
Yes.
That's who we are. So we've always been.
So the other issue that's going on in today is the pandemic, and we know that United Way does a lot for the community. And so, what are some things that United Way are doing, or you and the United Way are doing to help maintain it during the pandemic?
So when because I wear two hats.
Yes.
So I knew that I was going to have to vote to shut the city down, which most people think, well, she's going to get paid. Well, my husband works in a factory. So I was voting that was going to have to be a change for us too.
Right.
So like I said, it wasn't about me. It was about the greater good.
Right.
Right? So we decided to, because we didn't know how it was being passed on. We were short in information. There wasn't a lot. We knew that it was growing fast. We knew that New York was being wrecked. We knew Italy was being destroyed, right? We were walking in that space. So as a city official, we had to talk about that. What does that look like? And then as a civic, nonprofit, I had to think about, if we're going to shut jobs down and cities down, how are we going to get food and services to those that are still needing it?
Good.
And we just went straight into disaster mode. And so one of the first things we did was make sure that we got ordered food, so food boxes so if people had to pay their electric bill, food wasn't going to be an issue, right? We're making those food boxes that would give people food for over 500 families every week. On a Thursday, they could go and get food. That was one. And then we made sure that our homeless population, so we switched up those boxes, because there's two types of boxes, right?
Yes.
There's boxes that homeless people are going to have that are going to be different than what you would take to your home.
Right.
Because if you give them a can with no can opener, you just gave them a rock, because they can't open it, right? So we made sure that how many homeless people do we have? We have between 1,000 to 1,200. Not all of them live on the street. Sometimes they just live on someone's couch. So we were like, okay, what does that look like? And we turned all of that. And in the midst of that, we realized that we had shut everything down, and our homeless population didn't have bathrooms and didn't have ways to get out from the elements, right? That first 2 weeks of our pandemic, it rained for 2 weeks. For Natural Girls Hair, we just pulled it up. We're so grateful,
Yes.
right? But we didn't have that. And so the county put out porta potties so they can have that, and then we started doing the shower up event on Fridays so that people can come, get a shower, get in out of the elements, sit for a moment, because we were there. The mayor of the city allowed me to plug in anywhere and use water anywhere that I needed to, so that our friends who happen to not have homes could have a place to get a shower. And so that's what we did first. And then other organizations reached out. Community Health Foundation reached out and said, Valerie, we have $500,000. And sometimes that doesn't sound like a lot, so I'm gonna say it different. We have $500,000.
Right.
You see how perspective that sounded different? We have $500,000 we want to give to your organizations. What can you use? I said, well, we have some organizations that are doing the work that are not connected with United Way. So let's make sure we do that. Let's also talk about how do we get people back to the wholeness of March 1st.
Right.
So that we need to put money aside for rent assistance, for electricity, and for water. And so we came up with a plan of what that looked like. We came up with a grant. If you lost your job or on furlough, before they actually came out with money to pay, we had those people reached out, they could get those things paid for.
Oh, that's amazing.
We looked into mortgage companies, like what does furlough look like versus forbearance, so that we were able to be, for lack of better words, bilingual in that place, so we could explain to people as they called us and see which way to work that math out for them. What does that look like for them at the end? And so we just started working hard.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I know that things are starting to open back up now, and we're trying to gain some sense of normalcy. Moving forward, if you needed volunteers, or what kind of supports do you think that you need from maybe our listeners or our viewers?
So one of the things is, if you go to our Live United page, it's liveunited.clarksville.org. You can go in there, and we have a volunteer page where you can see all the different nonprofits that we have, and you can sign up and sign on. So when we do have a project, you can click on it. If you do have, if you have a certain passion, you can find it. If you're a nonprofit, you can be on there, because we give it to our nonprofits for free. We also have a
that's
thing
good.
called Charity Tracker, that if you're a nonprofit, you can sign up and be on there for free. Those are some of the things that your local United Way has had, so that our nonprofits can speak to one another, so that we are connecting. And if you have a workplace, and they have a United Way campaign, please give, because we're not just sitting. We're actually working. When I say we go out, I mean I go out on Fridays and I help people clean out the showers, get it set up so that people can have what they need. We are boots on the ground.
I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that you said something about the workplace campaign, because as the school system,
Yes,
we get that form in our box like every year, and I guess I never thought about, let me just call it Valerie and see what this is all about, because it just didn't click. And now that I'm listening, I'm like,
Wow.
I feel really bad every time I toss that.
Well, I gave for
can't-
the first time this year. Out of 10
Thank
years
you.
of teaching, this is my first time giving, and I'm glad. And now I'm going to probably give
yeah.
more. 'Cause
Not-
I'm like-
yes, from here on out, I'm definitely giving and advocating. Hey,
Yes.
don't put that in the recycle. Let's do this.
Be the coordinator for your school system. You can be the coordinator. You can be that voice. It's that easy. Because this year, I know we had teachers that reached out to me, Valerie, this is happening. How can I get help? And I did everything. All of a sudden, she has her 3 children, and she didn't know what to do. Her child's children, she had them, and we did everything we could to make it better for her.
Awesome. That's good.
And then what we couldn't, I figured out how we could make it better for the next person.
Yes.
Because all opportunities, if you didn't get it all, is how can you make it better for the next one that comes behind.
Yes.
And so I'm always searching for those, how not to have this happen like this again. So
That's good.
Yes.
That is so good. Yeah.
that's what I do.
All right. Well, do you have, like, we already know you have so much going on, but do you have any upcoming projects, anything that you want to talk about, let the community know that you're doing, anything of that nature? Or anything else?
So our shower up events, well, we're going to continue to have it even if the city opens up, because we've partnered with the Matthew Walker Clinic.
Okay.
So they're going to come out and be able to do workshops and test or give any medical treatments to our friends who don't have homes. And so they're going to be able to do that every Friday, which I'm super excited about that. And the next thing that we'll be going off is starting our campaign all over again.
Okay.
The school system has 4,000 employees. If all 4,000 employees gave $5 a month, that is life-changing for our community. It doesn't have to be the everything. Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's $250,000. It's like life-changing that quickly.
Just off one company. One.
Just one little bit.
Yeah.
Small thing.
And so I don't get a raise if y'all give more. If that makes sense. I don't get more money all of a sudden but like I put a goal out of 1.5 last year. And we've given out about that much because of all of the extra money that's come in. But to raise it from our workplace campaign hasn't happened as of yet. But I'm not asking it so that I look like a hero. But that's the minimum that our agencies are asking for. Like we technically could lose a couple of our agencies right now that we need in our community because there's just not enough support.
Yeah.
And it's things like therapy, because everybody don't believe in it, or it hasn't affected them yet. What does that look like? What if all of a sudden we didn't have that food bank? Because we also do a thing called Alice. Alice is for people who technically don't qualify for anything.
Right.
We have programs that allow them to get services.
Oh, that's good.
People don't know that, but it's right.
What kind of services do you provide other than medical services and food?
So we have everything from Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, adult literacy. So our adult literacy is doing it different.
Okay.
I wrote a grant so I could have Zoom, because I didn't want to put that extra burden on them to pay for the costs,
Yeah.
right? So they can use our Zoom, and now they can go back to teaching and showing people how to get their GEDs and
Okay.
to read online now.
Now,
So those are some of the projects we're doing right now.
Okay.
that's now are these teachers like volunteer to come in and teach this literacy? Or?
So Miss Velma Joe she's one of our partner agencies. It's really an agency throughout the city. It's called the Adult Literacy Program. If you go on there, on our volunteer website, you can see where you can plug in and volunteer and help.
Okay.
Will you have that volunteer website one more time?
It is the Live United, Live United Clarksville.org. And when you go onto our page, it'll show you all the gamuts. And so it was this, get involved, and you click on it, and it shows you to give, to advocate, to volunteer.
Okay.
And all of those are the purpose. And I need people who advocate too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be the voice.
Yes.
And like one of the things that I know personally I'm fighting for is to make sure that we keep our city livable for the everyday.
Yes.
Because we'll be stronger that way.
Yes.
If our workforce have to leave the city limits to come work here, we just created a further divide between being okay and not.
Right.
Yes.
I don't need them to drive far. Matter of fact, I need as many people who can walk to their jobs because that's more money for their pockets.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, listen, thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing your story with us, and hopefully it will, well, no, not hopefully, it will inspire many. I mean, it
I'm
inspired me
inspired.
today, so.
I'm like, I got
Yes.
things to do.
Exactly.
Come on.
So,
All right. I don't know all names of songs. I'm going to have to sing them. Okay, I'm good.
Now you just unpause.
okay, so we're going to play Name That Tune.
OMG.
So, we're going to get the rules of the game is we're going to guess the song. You'll hear a song from the 90s.
Mhm.
You have about 5 seconds to name and guess it. And we're going to, the person who pressed the buzzer
Okay.
will have the first opportunity. So we're going to go to, 7 points?
7 points. Let's do it.
Wait, is there a prize?
Ooh, maybe? Maybe.
We didn't think that far
Dun,
ahead.
dun, dun.
It's fun.
Bragging rights.
Yes,
Definitely bragging rights.
Yes.
Got it.
Alrighty. Ready? Here
All
we
right.
go.
Yeah. Is it
The
called
name of
Yeah?
Yeah?
Isn't the name of the song
And who sings that?
Yeah? Sure.
Yeah.
And Little John. Then
No. Is it Lil Jon?
I think it's Ocean Little John, but that wasn't really the real one. That was just the intro.
Good job.
I was ready. I was like, I know
That wasn't the real one, so I don't know. All right, here we go. This is the real one.
Rihanna, Umbrella.
That's a 90s song?
That's not 90s.
song?
I think we're in the 2000s.
I was like,
I might be able to
It
compete in
says-
this one.
Oh, no, it says 2000 quiz.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Oh my gosh. 2000 quiz. I was wrong.
All right.
All right, here we go.
I was getting scared, but
All right.
Oh, you did that.
2007, Rihanna and Jay-Z.
Yeah. Beyonce.
And
Put a ring on it.
yes.
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 Wrong hand, but yeah. I used to do that dance. Eminem. I'm just kidding. Lose Yourself.
Okay. So let's see if you're right. I was TikToking. Yep. Eminem, Lose Yourself, 2002.
That's the only thing I knew was Eminem. I couldn't have thought the name of the song.
Eminem was my jam. I was not allowed to listen to it at home. Outkast, Hey Ya.
Let's see
Yeah,
if
I
she's
only
right.
knew Outkast. I don't know the name. I love that song.
Oh, I know who it is.
Oh.
Alright. It's Justin Timberlake.
Uh-huh.
Sexy back. There we go.
You know what?
I'm
2006.
gonna give that one to you.
You get out. Yay.
All right, here.
Just lose it all.
Yep. I'm gonna say nope.
Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas, 2009.
Now, if they would have sang it that part of it, I would
Yes.
have gotten it. But that intro was not helping me.
Okay, so what's the score? We have.
We are 2 up right now.
Okay.
It's Shakira. My hips on the line.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
2006.
Ah.
Okay.
I don't want to hit the buzzer anymore. Pussycat Dolls, don't you?
Yeah.
You're already
2005.
See, you hit that sweet spot between having my first kid and Jesus getting a hold of me in like 2010.
right. That's why I was good with the 90s. I'm like, bruh, I'm in.
Like, oh, like before that, like, you know, my parents didn't let me listen to a lot of stuff. Like, this is that kind of rogue era, that rogue era.
Okay. Ready?
Oh my God.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I noticed my girl wasn't on my side.
Not even a clue.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I'm just mad his girlfriend went by herself.
So long.
Akon, 2005.
Should have wiped your Akon. She would have been by your side. Should have wiped.
Right.
All right, last one. It's
All right,
probably
last
more
one.
than 7, but you know, it's fun.
I took a walk around the world to ease my troubled mind.
Kryptonite. I don't know the band.
3 Doors
Who's
Down,
it down?
2000.
My superhuman, my kryptonite.
Okay.
All right. For the record, we don't own the rights to any of this music. Just putting that out there.
Well, that was fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Unless you've got something, and we've got something, then thank you so much to Valerie Guzman for joining us today on the Black Women Burrito. And thank you guys for tuning in, watching or listening, whatever you're doing. Remember, go to our website, theblackwomenburrito.net. 1, subscribe. 2, nominate your awesome black woman so that we can get her on here and talk to her too.
The Black Women Burrito would like to thank all of our sponsors. Visit us online at theblackwomenburrito.net to receive a coupon to any one of these locations: Bath Spas of America, Orange Magnetic Graphics, Precision Tune Auto Care, Marita Bonita Authentic Mexican Restaurants, Gigi's Hair Salon and Restoration, and B&N Auto Services.